Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming out to our January 9th work session. We appreciate you all being here, and we'll call this meeting to order. If you would please join me and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Jennifer Cowan.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Jennifer. I hope everybody had a great holiday and New Year's. Back to work now. Before we get started into presentations, I'm going to turn to our City Manager, Jennifer Bramley, to give us a storm update.
Yes, good morning, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners. So it seemed at the end of November, at the end of hurricane season, we all heaved a sigh of relief that it was the end of that weather situation and we had a little time to prepare for next hurricane season. It would appear that we do not, as far as some of our bad weather. We did have, as you know, a no-name storm in December, and it would appear we're going to have another this afternoon. And so I just want to let you know a little bit about the preparations that we've made. And first of all, unfortunately, we're going to have to start instituting some SOPs, standard operating procedures, as far as no-name storms in the off-hurricane season. We are advised by Pinellas County Emergency Management that there will be flooding in the areas that flooded during Idalia and during the no-name storm in December as well. And so we've been working probably from mid-afternoon yesterday when we started receiving situation reports from the county until this morning. Jorge, Sue Bartlett, Vince Gizzi's involved with Parks and Recreation as well, to stand up a sandbag station, if you will. We did. It is at Highland Park, and we did send out communication. I'll talk a little bit about what Sue Burness has done with communicating. But we did want to put it someplace central because there are others along some of the creeks that like to come and get the sandbags as well and may need them. And so they are, we have a sandbag operation going on right now in Highlander Park until 12 or however long it takes to get folks situated with the sandbags. So we have been speaking or corresponding directly with the neighborhoods that flooded during Idalia and during the no-name December storm, and that is Baywood Shores, and that is the North Douglas area as well. Sue's developed a e-news that we send to those neighborhoods, specifically tailored to those neighborhoods, and we use the emails that we have received from residents in that area. Either they attended a meeting or they asked to be put on the list. And so we sent out communications to them yesterday afternoon. We are attaching the situation report as far as what to expect with wind, rain, and then the high tide as well. The situation report contains all of that information as well as the numbers that they need to call for emergency management as well. And so we have also, at their request, we're putting signage out, or we've already put it out, road closed and local traffic only. A lot of those areas get sightseers after a storm, and that is a bad thing because it creates a wake for a lot of those homes. The last thing they need is another couple inches up on their yard, and so those roads are closed to local traffic only. We will continue communicating with those flood-prone areas all day long. I've been working with Les as well to acquire a consultant to help us with, help our residents address storm damage and also addressing storms in the future via elevation, to help a consultant to help them navigate the state and federal government grant programs and those types of things. They're not on board yet, but we can get them on board relatively quickly, and that's Whit O'Brien actually, most likely, will be able to use. And so that's something that residents asked for as well. We did the same thing during COVID with our businesses, as you recall, and that was a very successful program. So we're ready, we're waiting, we're watching. Open hall is open, City Hall is open, regular hours. I am going to, hold our department head meeting via Zoom this afternoon to keep everybody in their offices and high and dry. And I'm sure that our field operations will be addressing the storm appropriately as well. So they are advising that people try to stay in and not travel. We're expecting 50-mile-per-hour winds and a lot of rain.
From what time?
Starting at about 2 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah. So unfortunately, as I said, this is going to have to be standard operating procedure. It's not something that we accounted for. We even spoke about at the end of hurricane season, but we're getting those storms in the off season now as well.
Right. Any questions for Jennifer?
Well, I was going to ask your question because I thought it was actually starting a little earlier, but it's not. We're good for this
What I
meeting?
saw this morning, actually,
Look at
on the.
rain, but I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, on the news was 2.
2.
Okay.
That's what I heard this morning
Good.
on the news, too, was 2 o'clock
Cool.
Yeah.
would be the bad stuff.
Good.
2 to
So-
6, yeah. Schools are still open,
Yeah.
so far as I know.
So-
Pasco did, yeah, Pinellas is open, so far as I know, at this
Is
point.
there any clear date or clear time, how long it's going to be in those?
It says 2 to 6 on all the information that I have, yeah. Oh, the tides? The
When
high
is the
tide is
tide?
at 11 o'clock, 11 PM,
11 PM or AM?
PM.
What's the high tide today, this morning? Do you
Be
know, Rob?
around 11 AM.
Yeah.
And we
Okay.
have sent that information, the title information to the neighborhoods as well.
And are we communicating with our businesses at all?
No, we have not. We've been concentrating on the flood-prone areas, so we have not communicated with them directly.
Okay. Anything else?
I heard from some of the people in the flood-prone areas, and I can tell you, they appreciate the attention. I mean, it's scary to go through this again, so.
All right,
I understand high tide is at 2 to 3 above, and so
okay,
that's going to start at noonish.
Yes.
gotcha.
So 2 to 3 above,
Additional wind, and
Right.
any additional wind would exacerbate that. So
yes, sir.
It's an issue, as the city manager has said, so we need to jump on top of this quick.
Yeah.
And we are.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jennifer. Appreciate it. All right, back to our regular agenda. Nicole and Elizabeth and Mary Childs, please come forward. We want to honor our City Hall Gallery artist, Lance Rogers, and I'll turn that over to you all.
Good morning, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, staff. Elizabeth Brinklow, Arts Consultant for the City of Dunedin and a co-curator of the Dunedin City Hall Chamber Gallery with my co-curator, Mary Childs.
Hiraeth is a Welsh word, a spiritual longing for home which maybe never was, nostalgia for places to which we cannot return. It is the echo of the lost places of our souls past. It is in the wind and the rocks and the waves.
This artist has been drawing, painting, and creating his entire life. If creation was a disease, and maybe it is, he says he would be incurable, terminal. When he was given a coloring book, he was not great. Staying within those lines was not his strength. Blank paper was.
Artist Lance Rogers is an award-winning contemporary artist with a strong emphasis on painting and photography. Since 1980, Rogers has displayed his art in numerous galleries, museums, and collections in the United States and abroad. His work is on permanent display at the James Museum of Western and Wildlife Art, the Lipa Ratner Museum of Art, Arts and Sciences Museum of Ormond Beach, Gulf Coast Museum of Art, the American Embassy in Madrid, Spain, as well as in numerous private and corporate collections.
Lance Rogers has spent a lifetime drawing his own lines and painting his own stories. Like any good artist, he has experimented and strayed from the rules, and like a few brilliant artists, he has established new rules to build a portfolio of works that are undeniably unique and unmistakably his. Lance's strengths are not gleaned from his formal education, his long list of awards, or even the fact that his works can be found in the permanent collections of many museums, foundations, corporate, and personal collections. His strengths come from his hyper-cognizant devotion to creating beauty out of a sometimes dismal societal condition.
Often irreverent, regularly mischievous, but always honest. His paintings are exuberant, well-researched snapshots of society's painful or playful foils and foibles.
From the birth of the atomic age to the way people live and adapt to increasing autocracy and more prevalent socioeconomic disparities, to the complex nature of the waves from a rising sea, Lance Rogers has used his paintbrush to capture us and our place in history, while reminding us of our longing for a perceived simpler time, our own Hiraeth. Lance Rogers.
Yes, I think there are questions.
Come here.
I'm afraid I'll be too loud. You might want to hit that 3-minute buzzer. Once I get started.
Well, first, tell us a little, I mean, we love this. This is
Well,
wonderful.
I also do abstracts, but for you guys, I wanted to do something that's, let's start with the wave. I just finished that. And one of the best compliments I've gotten on my waves is the guy that owns a surf shop in St. Pete says, you know what I like about your waves? And I go, what? And he says, they're Florida waves. They're not California, perfect curls, surfing, and they are. They're kind of, and we walk by waves like that on this Gulf Coast. I was born in St. Pete. You guys up here, we walk by little waves like that all the time, and they're so simple and fleeting, but they're so complex at the same time. So I just wanted to stop that and give it much more importance than we often give it when we're going for that sunset walk on the beach. The other ones are little stories I go back through. I had a Porsche like that once, and it was a divorce casualty. So now I get to keep this one until I sell it again. And I don't know if you recognize her, but that's a very young Betty Davis. So she was on the set of a movie, and she was eating an ice cream cone. So, you know, I get to make my own little worlds out of disparate elements of other worlds. So that's kind of all that's going on. The one in the back, you should probably read the artist statement on it, but you know, people my age, when I was doing this, I put a couple palm trees in it because it reminded me of my upbringing. You know, my father was in World War II. He got a GI Bill house, this tiny little house, and that's what we grew up in. And you know, it was the American dream. Now, around that time, I don't know if any of you guys remember this, but it was the Cold War, and so a Cuban pilot decided to defect and hit the deck and flew to Homestead Air Force Base. Nobody fired a shot. Nobody saw him coming until he landed on the tarmac, freaked everybody out. And so I'd like to think that, you know, he had to do a quick low, but I did put some palm trees in it, but as I was doing this, I was getting comments from all over the nation. That could have been my house. That could have been my house. So, you know, looking back on something as crazy as the Cold War with some nostalgia, but, you know, we all grew up. We all think our own time is the best time. We have the best music and, you know, that sort of thing. So that's kind of what it's, you know, they're proud of their house. The guy's palming the cigarette. If you look, but he doesn't want it in the picture, so he's palming it, you know, and one kid's acting up. And it was just, you know, the American dream. So anyway, I got a million stories. If you go to my website, look at the other stuff. And, but hopefully they all tell a little bit of a narrative. And hopefully people relate to it. So
That's wonderful. I think we have some questions for you.
sure.
I'll turn to Commissioner Gao.
Thank you, sir. I think we all love nostalgia and yesteryears, and being born in 1961, these are little aged for that time period. These are more kind of, but that's the way we always grow up. We never grow up in that year, things are brand new. There's always that lag time. And so for me, this is my childhood. This is the way I grew up. So thank you for that. And you kind of mentioned it when you're talking about the wave. And it isn't just a Florida wave, but I consider that a Gulf of Mexico wave. I consider
absolutely.
that a west coast of Florida.
Yeah.
Which really does bring it home. So thank you. And for even acknowledging that there are different waves around the countries and around the world. So thank you for that.
Two different coasts. The person who owns this, I mean, we very much discussed that. We wanted, you know, a West Coast. he lives on the Gulf and, but kind of inland, so not big waves. And the color of it has to be that emerald, not bright Caribbean blue. And all that stuff matters. It informs the artwork and it informs your heart. So thanks.
And within all those, I was just looking at all the pictures, and they seem to be, certainly they're all daytime. There seems to be sun, but you don't see the sun. So how do you use that sense of light, that sense of how do you create something like that?
I try to picture what the light would be on the object. Many of these are made from black and white photographs. So, I have to, again, I've been doing this a long time, so but I definitely, if you go and see some of my other ones, you'll see some that there's a figure right in front of us, an after storm, when I want you to feel the humidity in the air. You know what I mean? It's not a bright, clean, I wanted you to feel a little heat in that day. She's looking this, but it's still a bright sunny day. But as far as like sunsets and stuff go, I at one time thought, I opened this store at Madeira Beach in Johns Pass Village, and I was airbrushing T-shirts on the beach or whatever, and thought, I'll get this thing going. I'll have all this time to paint. Well, if any of you own your own business, it doesn't often work that way. And so, but I was out there all the time, and I would look at some of these sunsets. And I would go, if I airbrush that exactly the way it looks, no one would believe me because they're just too varied and spectacular. And, so you very much create your own world. So and I'm definitely manipulating your eye. Even though these are realistic, there's certain things I want you to look at first and then look around the picture and go on this little journey. It's not just all in your face and like so. So there's a lot more to it than, I always make a joke. People go, what do you do? And I go, I make marks on canvas. There's a little more to it than that, but I stole that line from James Rosenquist.
Awesome.
Somebody asked him this is a good story. He was at a party in his honor. So all these highfalutin people came, and most of them didn't know who he was. And I don't know if you all know, he used to live up here in Arequipa, and at the time he was one of the 5 most famous living artists in the world. So he shows up, he's in the back and, having a beer, and this woman walks up to him and she looks him up and down through her bifocals and says, "And what, sir, do you do?" And he said, "I, madam, make marks on paper." So I'm like, I'm stealing that. It's good enough for Rosenquist. It's good enough for me.
Very awesome. Thank you.
Very nice, thank you.
Thank
Commissioner
you.
Walker. No, don't go anywhere.
I do want to interject. It's such an honor to be in this beautiful facility.
Thank you.
It's really nice. I hadn't documented that one yet, so I'm like, get pictures.
Oh, for sure.
So it's really great, and it's up for a while. So usually we get 3 or 4 weeks, and so I'm appreciative of that as well. So
Well, don't go anywhere. We have more questions.
okay.
Commissioner Walker.
Thank you, Mayor. I love the way that you capture the nostalgia of the dawn of the atomic age as well as the Cold War, because as like Commissioner Gao and probably everybody on the commission here, we all grew up during that period of time, and there was a certain feeling during the course of that. The one thing I found very unique about your paintings is your use of light and color, and I have to think that it conveyed, what for me anyway, it does convey a more positive feeling than what actually existed in that day. And I'm just curious as to if you could expand a little bit more on essentially how you do that.
Well, without getting too political, but we came out of World War II, the GI Bill, we were optimistic as a nation. And so they're so proud of their little house. I think that's really so cool. But in the background, here comes a MiG-17 flying over, and then we had the civil rights and equal rights, and the voter ID, and all the stuff that we went through, and then Vietnam. And it's like, so, it's crazy that you're looking back with nostalgia at a time of duck and cover, like it would have helped us with MacDill being right there. But, you know, that's what it was. We still went out and played, and thank God our parents, you know, took care of us. But and now the things we have now, just craziness. And so, as crazy as that was, I have a little nostalgia for it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You know, and I also am pretty, I'm very interested in how the MiG-17 is very interesting to me, because that was the aircraft of the defecting.
Oh yeah. Well, I
pilot.
you know, I vaguely remembered that as
Yeah,
a kid.
yeah.
Because it was like, holy cow, we're being attacked. Oh no, it's a guy defecting. But still, our radar defenses, and then it happened again in
Yeah.
like 1980.
Yeah.
It was a much newer MiG, same thing. Guy flew under the radar, landed at Homestead, like worked. So I don't know. I hope we're safe.
Well, we
Oh,
most
God, don't put that
we
out
most certainly
there.
were against the MiG-17.
You know, so I was like, yeah, I had found these pictures of service people climbing all over this thing, looking at it. They'd never seen one up close, so we got to study it, and yeah, that was the plane of the day for the Russians. So, excuse me, the Soviet Union.
Thank you very much.
Okay, don't go anywhere. We have another one, Commissioner Torga.
Well, sir, I have something over you, and that is that I could color within the lines, but that's perhaps why I'm not up there,
You're probably good at math too.
because there was no creativeness. You just colored in the lines. But nevertheless, I'm getting a feeling of where you get the sense of playfulness in your paintings. You seem to draw something of what is not only historical, but something that's happened to you or that you recall. Is that sort of where this comes from?
Oh,
always?
definitely. When I was in college, I thought I wanted to be a photorealist. I thought I wanted to just paint stuff, because you're still learning your chops. You're still, you know, and when I finally was getting there and people were like, is that a photograph or a painting? My ego got in the way. It's like, heck no, that's a painting. I painted it. If I just wanted to take a picture, I could take a picture. You know, but you learn how to do all this stuff. People think Picasso did all this crazy stuff. Look at his early work. The guy really knew how to draw. And then he started thinking about, where do I want to go? You know, I happen to still appreciate the realism more than the cubism stuff, but he was a smart guy. What he did didn't take as long as what Bouguereau's paintings were, these beautiful, you know, life-size nudes and stuff. So, but if you go to my website or whatever, you'll see a pretty big variety of, and they're all kind of little stories, and there's humor in a lot of them, but they're just moments. So my moments get to last for 1,000 years. I'm lucky that way. I don't have any kids. These are my legacy.
Aww.
So it's, I don't know. It's kind of, so you become very aware of, you don't just, at least I tell other artists that are coming up, I'm going, or I used to curate a lot of shows, and my gallery owner's here, and it's like, don't just throw stuff up and see what sticks. It's not all great. Learn to edit your stuff, and I hope I do a pretty good job at that.
I think you do.
So,
Thank you for your comments.
cool.
Do you happen to have a question?
I don't have a question, but I have a couple comments.
Yes, please.
Lance, thank you. I didn't even know this group could be this artistic. I mean, very impressive.
Well, very artistic.
Thank you to
Nobody's
Elizabeth.
asked me what my favorite color is yet, and I thank you for that. That would actually be a hard question to answer. So
Well, I have to ask it then.
Oh, well,
What's your
I don't
favorite
know.
color? Okay.
it's in there somewhere.
I'll expect that next time then. No, just a couple comments. It's interesting because I was drawn to the middle one first, and secondarily the second one. And the last one I was drawn to was the third. But because you told the story now, I'm way drawn to that because it's such a great story. It just fascinates me how art
Well, there's
is
tons
the
of little
story.
details in there, family
Yeah.
details. Like I
Yeah.
said, the guy's knew his picture was being taken, so you can see his palm in his cigarette. 'Cause
Yeah,
he didn't want to
I
get
love
smoking
that.
a cigarette in the picture.
You know, I wish nobody would smoke anymore, right?
You
No,
know?
just kidding.
Stop
Well,
it.
there was,
Jesus.
mine was a non-smoking family. But I can remember my mom having ashtrays, that was just
Yeah.
how it was, and.
Can't even buy a car with an ashtray anymore.
Yeah, and that's what.
Trust
when
me, I know.
At one time, I thought I wanted to do ceramics, and I got that out of my system real fast. And it was probably because of the horrible, horrible ashtray I made for my mom, who didn't smoke, so, yeah.
Well, that era predates me, unlike what Rob said, it predates me.
Hey,
Unlike
he
everybody-
said-
Just kidding,
He
just
said
kidding,
it's
of
a
course.
little
Well, it certainly
aged,
predates
I'm
me.
only like 5 years older than him. I'm like, settle down there,
I'm the youngest on the
Mr.
commission,
Cow.
so it definitely predates me.
It- yeah,
I'm just pointing that out.
It's a great story. I do want to say, and Mary and Elizabeth know this, I always look for a painting that, and sometimes my colleagues one of them can get a little verbose once in a while. I'm not going to mention any names about who can do that. But I mean, I like to find a painting I can just get lost in, right? So if people see me sitting back here now, they'll know which one
I
I'm
haven't-
getting lost in, because it's a great, you can get lost in that painting, which is what I love about art.
One of the other best compliments I get, I've gotten this a few times in my life, where somebody's purchased a painting, and they said, I thought I was watching TV the other night, and I realized I was just staring at your painting.
Yeah.
And they've had it for 5 years, and I'm
Yeah.
like, nice. Again, I like to take you on little journeys. Now, some of them, I call them billboards, and you get it quickly. A billboard, you want to get it in 7 seconds from a long ways away. So when we were hanging it, we were going to put the girl with the Porsche on the other side, and the more we started looking, it was like, you can see that one as soon as you walk in the door and pretty much get everything that's going on. The other one, you need to walk up and take a little journey. So
Yeah.
I don't know what's right or wrong. It's all valid.
Well, thank you for sharing your art and the stories. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you for
Yeah.
asking good questions. Nobody's asked me what kind of drugs I was on when I did it.
No. Hey,
That'll be the mayor.
Elizabeth,
That'll be the mayor's.
stop it. Elizabeth, yeah, no. Well, hang on now. I got my final comments too. No, Elizabeth does a good job on, scripting us.
We've worked together over many years, and she always does a good job.
Yeah, she does. And I just, on behalf of all of us, we appreciate your willingness to hang your art here and share it with the community, because this is the people's house. So we have a lot of different people coming in and out, and hopefully it gives you some exposure. But I too love the stories. When I look at that, I see Americana, which, makes me think about my own life, and my parents. You were talking about your parents and where you grew up. All of that just makes me think about my own life, the beach, the house. So I think it's you sharing your stories with us, but making us remind ourselves of our own stories. And what a perfect capture of something to share with the community, because I think everybody will feel the same way.
I hope so.
Yeah, so,
You got
thank you.
insurance if it gets somebody, you guys have a big MAGA fight in here and somebody throws something.
Yeah, no, stop. Hey, by the way, do you do murals?
I do not do murals for this reason. I will make you a giant painting. I've done paintings as big as billboards, 14 by 48 feet. But a mural, it's going to fade in a few years. Someone's going to graffitiize it, which you got to be willing to go with that. Nothing against them, but you put almost as much work in that as you would a canvas. And a canvas you can roll up and take away. It should last. Like I said, with reasonable care, these are last way many generations. When you think of what some of the most famous paintings are.
Yeah.
So I'm aware of that. So that's the reason.
Yeah,
that's the
makes
reason
total
I
sense.
don't,
Makes total sense, because if you put your heart and soul in something, you want it to last.
Yeah, I mean, I know some muralists, and somebody goes, and everybody's a critic, and if they've had a couple of beers or whatever, and they got a can of spray paint, then they get all upset. How could they deface my work? Now,
Well, because you left it outside for everybody to look at.
yeah, and I don't like that. I can do better. So yeah, it's frightening. Now, a friend of mine was Paul Epling, who did the big lizards and things made out of car bumpers. I don't know if you've all seen them. There's one on the maintenance shed going on the interstate up Fifth Avenue in St. Pete. And I asked him once, because I was going to do a sculpture project, and I said, what do you do about, vandalism? And he goes, knock wood. He goes, no one's ever vandalized one of mine. So I guess he passed the street art critic test, but you can't count on that. So that's the reason for that. No other Nothing against murals. I wouldn't put one in a house for the same reason. I go, I'll make you a big canvas. You can roll it up, give it to your, burn it, do whatever you want, but, you know, the next person's going to come in with different taste, and, you know, some Glidden paint goes right over something you've killed yourself on, so.
Yeah, we've really only had one experience with that, and that was, you know, on the Frog building, where they expanded and expanded over the mural, which I think we were all kind of heartbroken over, but no graffiti that I know of. But you know,
Well,
it can always happen.
Some, the artists that get all upset, I'm going, what, you just need to embrace that as part of your art. It's metamorphosizing, and it's, you know, that's, unless it's, you know, something stupid, swastikas or N-words and all that kind of nonsense. But you know, art's a movable thing. It's a moving target. So anyway.
Well, thank you, and I think,
Can I ask one last question?
sure,
I'm sorry about
that's okay.
because this could take an hour to answer. I'm on your website, and I am intrigued with your monkey art.
Oh,
Which is phenomenal.
I noticed you got it.
Everybody needs to go to the website and just, it really is amazing. What was the inspiration?
I had a college professor once that don't paint your dreams. So of course, I had this dream out of nowhere, and it was monkeys dressed as Playboy bunnies from the 60s, you know, with the big nose cone bustiers. And so I did these two 45-inch paintings, so it's a 90-inch painting to make two of them. And they're blue sky, and they're just smiling at you, like with makeup and all. They're probably on there somewhere. It's all sexified, but she's got like green teeth. And the more I started getting into it, I was like, you know, we share 98% of the same DNA, but they're not the ones getting Botox or wearing the makeup or all. So I did this, and it sold like immediately. It's in Montreal. And I'm like, okay, so, and the gallery that I was in, she goes, I need, do that again. So I'm like, oh, okay. And then I was thinking around here, so I did some beach monkeys with the Gulf. And she had her bra was clamshells and, you know, hibiscus in her hair, and they're just blowing kisses and stuff. And those went immediately to the keys. So I almost created a monster. I don't do them often enough to feel like I'm getting typecast, but it is a separate website. So, but, and then some people will tell you what they want, you know. I was doing this one for a couple, and as I was doing it, she was going to surprise her husband, and as I was doing it, she kept going, you should do wine snobs. You should do wine snobs. And I'm like, yeah, hey, thanks, yeah. And then I was like, you know, that's not a bad idea. So there's in there in front of Napa Valley with hot air balloons and all this stuff. And the guy's very serious. And here's a little tidbit. The dinner jacket that guy's wearing, it was Thurston Howell III's from Gilligan's Island. And you know, he's not even holding the stem. He's holding the base of it. You know, and he's swirling it, and he's got his nose in it. And then his girlfriend or wife or whatever is the next one, and she's just there for the party. She's swirling it, the wine's going everywhere, there's lipstick all over her teeth and the glass. And so, you know, you just have fun with those kind of details. And invariably with the monkeys, people will go and she goes, they assign them names. Oh, look, honey, it's Jane. You know, we all know those people, I guess. So, yeah, they're a lot of fun.
No comment.
I'm about ready to do another one. I don't know what it's going to be yet. But,
This one.
and I've done commissions where
That's
they came in and I
hysterical.
interview them.
I love it.
You know, I'll interview them. What time of day do you want it to be? What do you guys like to do? And they come up with you're always looking for something to do with their hands. You know, so you fish, what's your favorite baseball, what's your favorite sports team? And so they'll be wearing a Steelers jersey and
Oh, God, don't
know.
say
Yeah,
that.
no,
So-
Browns, they'd be wearing a Browns.
you know,
No.
so I've done it.
Forget the Browns.
Get the Steelers.
But you know, hey, I charge as much for those. I put as much into them as anything else. And
Go Gators.
Usually, if they make me laugh out loud somewhere through the course of it, I did a doctor who was a long-term COVID survivor, and he ended up putting this thing in his office, like his waiting room. And I said, "Man, are you sure?" So it's this. He's into wine and stuff. So he's holding a glass of wine, and he's pulling on a glove, like, you know,
There it is.
and he's got one of those old syringes made out of metal, that's, the needle's all crooked, and he's slapping this glove on, and he's drinking wine, he's got his lab coat, and he's in front of one of the raisable beds and all that stuff. And I said, man, are you sure you want to put this in your waiting room? And he says, yeah. So he put a light on it, and I said, how's that going over? You know, I talked to him later, and he goes, the whole time I'm in the back, I'm hearing laughter in my waiting room. And he goes,
Well, isn't that better?
that's a good
That's a
way to
good
make them
thing.
feel better right off the start. So it takes some courage to do that. That was pretty cool.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Enjoyed it.
Late winter, early spring, we'll be having an artist reception and an artist talk with Lance Rogers. So we'll make sure that the general public
Make sure you
knows.
provide the full 2 hours.
Absolutely. It'll be 2 hours.
It's so interesting.
Full 2 hours.
Very
So,
awesome and
thank you all.
interesting. Thank you, guys, and thanks for all your hard work. Thank you, Nicole. Yeah, go get some pictures. Yeah. That's okay, you don't need us. You need the art and the artist.
That ice cream looks really good.
That wave is beautiful. I'm gonna, did he say that? I'm gonna go look at what because I love that on my wall.
The monkeys, the 19th hole.
Yeah.
Did you see
Those are great, yeah.
Those are cool.
Those are cool.
really
Yeah,
neat.
those are
The one's
cool.
got an FSU hat on.
Yeah, oh, I didn't notice that, but this.
Okay, go Gators. Although FSU rocked it this year. Gotta give it to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, they couldn't pull it off in the end, but I think that was because of regulations.
They pulled it
That
off.
was
The committee
regulation.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I
Yeah,
didn't
that was
know.
all regulation problems. All right, thank you, guys. Okay. Now we'll move on to citizen input. Anyone wishing to come forward and speak, please feel free to do so. Any item that's not already on the agenda, give us your name and address for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes. Anyone? Man, I guess not a lot has happened this year. All right, we'll move on to consent agenda. Approval of minutes for October 31st, 11/2, November 14th, and November 16th. We have board and committee appointments to the Causeway Coastal Waterway Committee, Code Enforcement, Committee on Aging, Committee on Environmental Quality and Sustainability, Historic Preservation, Public Relations, and the Military Veterans Advisory Committee. We also have a purchasing manual clarification, a change order for Tyler ERP, and a consultant agreement with Kimberly Horn for Phase 3 of the Historic Resources Survey, a settlement agreement with George Trubig, a settlement agreement with Brian Riley, and the approval of a service agreement with NeoGov for online learning management. Are there any items to be pulled?
I'd like to just quickly, very quickly pull 2E. I just got a couple of quick questions.
The consultant agreement with Kimberly Horn
Yes, ma'am.
on the historic, okay. Anyone else? All right, so can I have a motion to approve everything but the Kimberly Horn Phase 3 Historic Resource Survey
So
Project?
moved.
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Walker and Commissioner Gao, thank you. Is there any public input on any of those items? Seeing or hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. And then we'll move on to item 2E, which is the consultants CCNA Agreement Service Authorization with Kimberly Horn for Phase 3 Historic Resource Survey Project. Commissioner Walker, do you want a full presentation, or do you just have a quick question?
Just a quick question.
Okay, go right ahead.
Yep. So, yeah, I think it's fantastic. I always think it's fantastic when you're leveraging other people's money. So that's fantastic.
Me too.
The question I have, though, is that I'm just, do you have a timeline that you're ready to present yet in terms of what that consulting study is going to look like, or when that's going to kick off?
Once this agreement has been executed, I will be notifying the consultant to go ahead and move forward with the project. We are at the mercy of the deadline of the grant cycle that we are awarded with this amount of money. Typically, we are hoping to shoot for the May timeframe to get that survey completed and submitted to the state for approval.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I think this is awesome. And so anyway, that I'll be, I guess we'll be staying tuned to the next steps on this. Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions for our team? I don't have a question, more of maybe a, so this is phase 3, and when you look at the staffing for, Jennifer, I'm looking at the historical thing, and this is phase 3, and if you look at phase 1, it was sort of one main section in the downtown, and then phase 2 was along the waterfront there, and now phase 3 is kind of all of South Dunedin, if you will. I'm not trying to kill you guys because I know you're really busy, but I do think, given in light of some of the teardowns that we're having or have had, that it would be at least appropriate if we can even send a form letter to the phases we've completed, or to notify them that whoever is considered historical,
Okay.
that says, and maybe has a one-pager with bullet points of, encouraging them to apply. Even if we get only 2 or 3 houses out of it, it's something,
Certainly, Mayor. We can actually make that a project for HPAC too.
Yeah, I just think we need to get on that. I know we're not completed with the full survey, but we've got these other 2 phases done, and we know which house, I'm assuming we know which houses are historical. So again, it's just a letter that goes to their house and with an application or whatever that gets them notified that they're historic for some reason or another.
Yep, we can absolutely do that.
Okay. Thank you. All right, any public comment on this? Seeing or hearing none, can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Walker and Commissioner Torga, thank you. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, guys. All right, we're moving to action items. We have the Marina Advisory Committee continuance discussion. I'll ask Lori Ferguson and David Rose to come forward. Welcome. I can't imagine not continuing this, but I'll let you guys go through your process. David, welcome.
Good morning. My name is David Vos. I'm the current chairman of the City of Dunedin Marina Advisory Committee. I want to thank you, commissioners, mayor, vice mayor, for allowing me to speak today as an advocate for the continued support of this commission for the Marina Advisory Committee. The primary duties of this committee are to provide assistance to the City Commission in the operation of the marina and as a self-sufficient enterprise and on behalf of its citizens. We believe that we serve well in that capacity. This committee provides the City Commissioners with citizens' view of the needs of the community and has provided valuable guidance on issues of importance to that community. Most recently, and with most relevance, we worked with the city staff on the rate study that is in the process of being implemented and that will guide the marina to a more sustainable financial footing over time and will allow flexibility in adapting to the master plan as it is implemented. We look forward to the continued support of the City Commission as the city embarks on the development of the long-awaited master plan for the marina. We believe that the input of the Marina Advisory Committee, as well as guidance on plans that would like to see put in place, work towards a future growing, thriving, and sustainable and vibrant marina. The marina is an essential part of the city as a waterfront recreational amenity, as an active commercial waterfront to the citizens that call Dunedin home and the visitors that come to our city and wish they could call Dunedin home. We want to see it continue as such, and we hope that this committee is part of that discussion for the future. Thank you for your time, and look forward to your continued support.
Thank you. Don't go anywhere. I saw we got the 2022 annual report. Do we have the 23, or was that just a typo?
That is being worked on at this time. It will go before the Marina Advisory Committee on the 22nd.
Okay.
For approval.
That'd be great if you just,
Yes.
When is it applicable for?
yeah, I mean, we don't need it as an agenda item or anything. It just keeps us,
Yes.
especially because it's such an important, committee meeting. All right, any questions? Vice Mayor, any questions?
No questions.
Any questions, Commissioner Tonga?
No, thank you.
Any questions? I'm assuming Jeff doesn't have any questions. I just want to tell you, thank you for all your service. I know you guys have tackled a lot of tough questions, and now we're going into our Marina Master Plan. We'll be looking for you guys, your input on all of that, all the things, what we want to see in our future. I don't think that, I think you guys have a well-oiled list of things to do ahead of you, so I don't think I need to add to that, but did anybody else have anything? Because when we do this, it's kind of the time for us to be able to tell you what we want you to work on, but I think you all know. Anybody have anything?
No, I mean, thanks for all the work you're doing, but you guys have a lot to do, and I, for one, will be relying on a lot of expertise from this committee as we move through, as we move through the rate study and we move through the master plan. So, David, thanks for your leadership.
Thank you.
David, I'll just make one comment if I may.
Sure.
Appreciate you being the chairperson of this committee and appreciate the committee. We have, as you know, have strongly supported this rate study and the study of the marina as to what needs to take place. And you probably have watched what we said about that in the past.
Yes.
Which we just did recently, so I don't think we need to reiterate any of that. I just want to make it very, very, or let you know that it's important, certainly to me, and that is that the safety of the marina, it continues to be at the top of our consideration, and certainly some of the issues that are cause concerns for boaters that are in the area. For example, shorter pilings and pilings that have extended their use at this point in time, and we're going to have some docks that are going to sort of be in that and I know you're aware of that. So I just wanted to make that comment, and I appreciate your concerns about that. So if you would, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Just, David, greatly appreciate your leadership on this. Pretty critical time going forward, and I know you're going to take us through this, so thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
And I can't not throw kudos at Laurie, too.
Absolutely.
For all the hard work that you do, and all the education that you've achieved over the time that you've been our harbor master and certificates and everything else. And you have certainly worked hard to earn the respect of the marina folks and the rest of the city. So thank you for your service as well.
Yes.
Jennifer, did you have, since you're our liaison over there too, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, just thank you to the committee for your continued service. Lots of good things happening in the marina, and looking forward to this year.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Okay, anyone from the public wish to come forward and speak? Seeing or hearing none, we'll come back to the commission. Can I have a motion to approve continuance of our Marina Advisory?
So moved. Second.
Okay.
Third.
Okay. Commissioner Twarnga and Commissioner Gao, thank you. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, guys. All right, then we have the State of Florida Department of Transportation agreement for Skinner. This item is being tabled. Can I have a motion to table?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Vice Mayor Franey and Commissioner Twarnga. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any motion passes unanimously. Then we have the Duke Energy Underground Conversion Agreement for Skinner Boulevard. This item is being requested to be tabled. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Twarnga and Commissioner Walker, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Then we have Duke Energy's Complete Streets Lighting Agreement. This item is also being asked to be tabled. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Gao and Vice Mayor Franey. Sorry. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed unanimously. All right, then we have a start item, which is the Resolution 2403, a resolution of support for the existing Pinellas County rainy season fertilized ban ordinance. First, I need to place this on the agenda. Can I have a motion to place this on the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Third.
Okay, I'm going to give this to Commissioner Gao and then Vice Mayor Franey. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Now we'll go to the resolution, which is Resolution 2403. Jennifer, would you please read this by title only?
So sorry, I missed
That's
that
okay.
one in my prep. I normally pull them all
It's
out
one of those
separate.
days.
So
First meeting in January.
it is.
Right.
You want me to do it?
No, then I hit the agenda item rather than the resolution itself. But Resolution 2403, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Dunedin, Florida, in support of the Pinellas County rainy season ban urban fertilizer ordinance and providing for an effective date. That was Resolution 2403, read by title only, eventually.
Thank you, Jennifer. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Gao and Commissioner Walker.
I already did that.
Huh? No, that was the...
Sorry. Okay,
These.
gotcha.
Okay, Natalie, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioner, City Manager. Natalie Gass, Sustainability Program Manager for the city. The federally mandated MS4, or Municipal Separate Storm Sewer Systems permit, which is managed by FDP, the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, was designed to reduce nutrient pollution, as well as require education, outreach, action, and data tracking on the subject. As a result of the MS4 goals and initiatives, fertilizer bans became a tool to reduce nutrient pollution and improve water quality. Thus, numerous county and municipal fertilizer ordinances came into existence, and this is why Dunedin has been in support of the existing Pinellas County rainy season fertilizer ban ordinance since 2010. The city has supported the ordinance through community education and outreach over the years, and the resolution of support reinforces this continued backing. And I do want to point out that the actions moving forward include monitoring the UF-IFAS report as well as legislative advocacy. And if you have any further questions, we're happy to answer them now.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, Vice Mayor?
So the Sierra Club resolution, how does this compare? And I know when we left it, you guys were going to look at the two, decide which made more sense, and see if it was repetitive, and did you do that, and where did you come down?
Yeah, so we reviewed the resolution, we sent it to our city attorney, and we just looked at what made sense, what was applicable for the city of Dunedin, and included those things, included the items that could be fact-checked, and that made sense for our community.
Great, and I did look at it, I actually have the Sierra Club here now, so, yeah, that made sense. And you'll basically communicate that to Sierra Club when this is all kind of done? Okay, I don't think, let me ask you this, I mean, I noted that the study with USF is done now, even though it doesn't seem to say much, other than it's too complicated to come down to, you know, what to do yet. What's your guess on what's going to happen now?
I don't know, I have to, review the report, and then I'll have a little bit better understanding of kind of the direction that they're heading, but I don't really have any comments on that yet.
Okay, fair enough, okay. I know it's late breaking, so
Yeah.
that's the only questions I have.
Okay, any questions, Commissioner Twanga?
Yes, I do. I did speak with the city manager about some of this, but I just want to ask you a few more detailed questions about this. We have an ordinance, this is going to be an ordinance for us. And how does this compare to what?
It's
No,
not
so
going to be an
this is-
ordinance.
This is just supporting the existing Pinellas County ordinance.
So this will never turn into an ordinance for us? That was
No,
gonna be
this
my-
is just a resolution of support for the existing
All right, great.
ordinance.
And I love the resolution. I think the resolution is a great way to go with this. We've all been here and experienced this since 2000, not we all. those of us who have been here and experienced this since 2010 realize the complexities of attempting to control this. And the main way, of course, is where you can purchase the product. But we still have independents that are rolling around out there. We don't know really what's in that concoction that they're using. But this is more of an educational thing and more of a resolution to our community, letting them know that we really care about this, and we do.
Exactly.
And we really want to protect our coastline. We are a coastal city, so I'm very pleased that this stays as a resolution because it's a strong. I think our county has a very strong position on this, certainly as opposed to some of the other counties. So I'm very happy to be in Pinellas County at this point in time as the subject goes, and I support this resolution.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any questions, Commissioner Gao?
Yes, ma'am, but actually, if I could, and let me know if this is not protocol, but I do know that Sierra Club is in the house and probably would like to talk.
Yeah,
Can I hear them talk before I really have any questions?
Sure.
You mind? If
Yeah,
that's-
let me get to Commissioner Walker. We'll open up to the public, and I'll come back and let you ask your question. Commissioner Walker, any questions?
Yeah, so just a quick question. In terms of what the Sierra Club has provided and the alignment with this resolution, do you have some examples of the things that got incorporated from the Sierra Club?
So, I mean, we took the resolution as is, and we simply removed a few items that were not applicable to the city of Dunedin, but everything, I mean, we have the edited notes.
Essentially, the entire thing, you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, no, that's perfect. Thank you.
Okay. I don't have any questions, so I'll open it up to the public. Anyone from the public wish to come forward and speak to this item, come on down, give us your name and address for the record. And we have 3 minutes. Welcome.
Hello, everybody. My name is Brian Beckman. I live in Clearwater at 127 Marina Del Rey Court, and I lead the Sierra Club here in the county, and want to thank you so much for considering this resolution. This resolution shows your strong commitment to keeping and improving the health of our water, which is essential to our economy and our quality of life. The seasonal fertilizer bans that have been in place in the county and many other areas in the state have been critical for improving water quality, which has led to increased seagrass levels that so much of the sea life depend upon. Reducing nitrogen in our waterways is critical, and stormwater runoff is a top contributor to an unhealthy bay system. Thank you for being a leader in our county, not only with this resolution, but also with your support of other important environmentally related priorities, like preservation of Gladys Douglas property, clean energy goals, and corresponding actions and progress to reduce pollution and saving money at the same time. You continue to show others how to lead. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wish to come forward and speak to this item, please feel free. Come on down. Give us your name and address for the record. And then we'll have 3 minutes on the clock. Welcome.
I'm Karen May. I live at 2561 Gary Circle in Dunedin. No, these are foggy. Honorable Mayor and Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to speak in favor of the resolution in support of our rainy season fertilizer ban ordinance. As a resident of Dunedin and a volunteer for the Suncoast Sierra Club, I feel that our rainy season fertilizer ban is important for the health of our waterways and our way of life. We pride ourselves in Dunedin for being a coastal community that cares about the environment, and the fertilizer ban has been our greatest tool for stopping water pollution at its source. The fact that our ordinance stops the sale of fertilizer during the rainy season is also critical for the effectiveness of the ban. This is a low-cost or no-cost method of preventing pollution when it would be very costly to have to clean up our waterways after the fact. The present moratorium on fertilizer bans by the state legislature should be rolled back and home rule restored to all communities in Florida who wish to use this method to protect our waterways. Please consider adoption of this proposed resolution and make it a legislative priority in the legislative session that starts today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Anyone else? Okay, seeing or hearing none, I think all of you read that we had an e-comment from Megan Colby in support of passing the resolution. I won't read it into the record. It's there already as a public record, but it is a comment of support. Come back to Commissioner Gao. Any questions?
Thank you, Mayor. And these are more opinion questions, so it's okay if you really don't have an opinion on them. But I know that the state legislature is now asking for an extension on their study. And so I read that to mean that they want to study this until they get the answer that they're already predestined to find. And so I'm wondering if that is just Jeff Gao's opinion, or is that a common belief and assumption among, I'll ask city staff. I don't know that I want to put them on that kind of spotlight, but from Sierra Club. Brian, do you have, what's Sierra Club's feeling about their current request?
I guess I don't have to read anything. I can put my glasses back on. Similar thoughts there, Commissioner. Concerned at the least. And so, again, the data has been clear that these bans during rainy season have produced great results. These are not brand new. These have been in place for over a decade, almost 2 decades. And they produce results. Our bay system in Tampa has improved because of it. And so, yeah, the concern has been that with other preemptions from a home rule standpoint, that those abilities would be taken away from us to improve and keep our waterways healthy. So, similar concern.
Okay, thank you. Don't go away. Brian?
Come back.
Brian?
Brian.
Brian? No, because this is just an open question as well. I know that the state legislature has also allowed Mosaic to experiment with taking their byproduct and incorporating it into asphalt and roads. And I don't know whether you have heard any reports on that. Are there any studies being done from that from people outside of Mosaic that might be able to give a counter?
I'm not well informed on that topic to be able to provide any additional information on that.
Okay. All right. Natalie, do you have any information?
I would have to do
on that?
further research, sorry.
Okay, thank you. And it just seems to me this shouldn't be a home rule issue. And the Gulf of Mexico belongs to everyone, and it just seems to be so logical that it kind of amazes me that I don't know the lens that sometimes our state legislature looks through. It's very concerning and disappointing. I'm sorry, I'm on the comments, Brian. You can sit down. Thank you, sir, very much. And thank you for everything the Sierra Club does. And I don't know, Mayor, if we're on to comments.
Well, you're the initiator of the motion, so go right ahead.
Thank you very much, because I don't think, this is certainly just a resolution, but it is so much more than that. It really is standing with Pinellas County and putting that stake in the ground that says there has to be a better mousetrap. We can certainly have the independent, beautiful lawns that we want and protect the Gulf of Mexico that not only plays such a vital role in our quality of life, but is the reason we move here, the economic impact and value that we have, in the role that our Gulf of Mexico plays in our economy. Why that shouldn't be the focal point is beyond me. So this is just a wonderful resolution. I have great concerns over what the state is going to do with the study, and I do believe that they're just going to study this until they find the answer that they already believe exists. And so I don't know if there is something else the city can do, if there's something that we can talk to our county commission about as far as strengthening or hardening any ordinances to this effect, the enforcement of the bans that we currently have. I don't know, but I do, I lay down, I sit, and I stand in support of this resolution. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Walker.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. First of all, the issue of increased nitration in our local waters is a real issue. And as has been indicated, this has a significant impact on the seagrass. And if you start taking a look at the impacts downstream of the seagrass, we're starting to talk about our fish, our manatees, all of the living things that currently reside in the Sound and in the Gulf of Mexico. This is a very real issue. And to the best of my knowledge, the waterway that goes from at least Clearwater Marina all the way up to Anclote is still impaired due to those increased nitration levels. And so the efforts that are being undertaken here with regards to supporting this resolution are absolutely the things we need to do. I am very proud of Dunedin as taking a leading role as a premier coastal community. I'm very proud of our relationship with the Sierra Club and our efforts to do this. And just like Commissioner Gao, I have significant concerns about where the state's going with this. I would offer up one thing that might be, and I know that there's communication to this effect, but I think it would be beneficial going forward, especially into this legislative session, that we start communicating where we're at with the impaired waterways that we currently have. And either way, and I'm hoping it's a good news story where the nitration levels have decreased over the last few years due to the ban. It'd be great to have that metric. And, I think there needs to be a full court press in terms of how we communicate this, the impact and everything else associated with it. So I'm very passionate about this. Anyway, that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Vice Mayor?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I've thought a lot about this and some of our other environmental issues of late, and I just tend to think this body, as we look forward over the next couple decades, and on, it's just going to be such an important focus for us. Our water and our waterways are everything. What do we have without that? We don't have a place anybody would want to be. We don't have a place anybody would want to visit. And life, our very life kind of depends on having healthy waterways. So I think this is really important. I wanted to make sure I commended State Representative Lindsay Cross and Mayor Woody Brown for their excellent editorial that was in Sunday's paper. I thought it was great, and I thought it was spot on in a lot of areas. And I think, at certain times, people have to ask themselves what motivates their decision making. And this seems clear to me. We have a real health and welfare and environmental issue that needs to be fought for, and it's got a lot of strength in its own science. It's got a lot of since 2010, the county's had this ordinance, and I think again, I agree with my colleagues. At some point, some things are important to stand up and fight for, and I think this is certainly one of them. And there's other environmental issues that I think are just critical focus things that we have to stay really on top of. So at least to the extent we can control it. And that's what this is about, wanting to control it from a home rule, but hoping, too, that there's a bigger picture decision-making that happens above us that sees this as a critical issue for our future of Florida. So thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Torga, anything?
Yes, thank you. I'll just give a quick summary, but everyone knows that I love the water here, and I consider us being a coastal city as one of the major points of Dunedin. I often had called that a pearl. We have a pearl sitting here because we're on not only the intercoastal, but certainly the Gulf. And I've even renamed the Gulf of Florida, and in the intercoastal area I call the Dunedin area. But we have we talk about the shoreline that we have 37 miles of shoreline, and I'm really proud of how Dunedin has presented itself in the past. We at one point in time, we even referred to Dunedin as a home of Honeymoon Island, which is a big plus if you ask me, because that's an intercoastal or a coastal water way that we're very, very proud of. I'm also proud of of the county having taken, I've mentioned that before, having taken the position that they've taken. I'm also proud of a lot of the folks that I know, particularly in my neighborhood, that I know specifically, that are very concerned about this. So we have an engaged community about this, I think. And again, I just want to pass that along to anybody that's listening. I'm really proud of the position that they've taken about this. I see us holding that position, and if necessary, then we need to talk further up. Again, there's counties around us that don't have the positions that Pinellas has taken, and I make sure that I talk with Pinellas about that on occasion because, again, I'm proud of the fact that we're a coastal city. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I was here when we passed this originally, or when we agreed to it. And I remember there were several pest control companies and fertilizer companies in the city that, made a lot of noise about it. And I guess that was, 13 years ago, or whenever that was, 14 years. And it's interesting because nobody's talking about being against it anymore. So I can also remember when I first got elected, green issues, nobody even knew what green was. What did that word mean? But after 2 or 3 years, it just exploded. You were probably still in high school. Maybe not even. So when I think back on that, it makes me really happy. Really, really happy that, a lot of times it takes a long time to sort of get people to change the way they think and do things. And, somebody might consider 10 years or 15 years a long time to change a complete generational way of doing things. I don't think that's a long time. I think that's pretty great, and that's because of organizations like the Sierra Club and cities that are willing to stand up for their environment, and people willing to see the future that isn't seen yet by other people. So I'm really proud of that for the city of Dunedin. Our job here is to preserve our community for future generations, and that's what we believe in up here, and that's what our staff and team members believe in. At all costs, to preserve that for future generations, and I think we exude that in everything we do. It's obvious that Florida, like it or not, tourism is the #1 economic driver in our state, and it is certainly the #1 economic driver in Pinellas County, and that extends to us. So, we don't want to hurt those things. I happen to sit on the Visit St. Pete Clearwater Board, which is the Tourist Development Council, and they put millions and millions and millions of dollars every year from bed tax, which comes from 90-some% from tourists, to renourish our beaches. Now, if you have bad water, why spend the money to renourish the beaches, right? So, it's just important that we protect all of those things. And I would tell you, all the small businesses, I can't speak for everywhere else, but in a city like ours, we're full of nothing but one man, a lot of one man owner or one woman ownership businesses, small businesses, and they rely on that tourism to make it or break it for them every day. And it all comes down to the protection of our natural assets. So when I look at this, it's a no-brainer. And I thank you for all your continuing hard work. I thank the Sierra Club for their continued hard work. Let's do a roll call vote.
Commissioner Tornga?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Franey?
Aye.
Commissioner Walker?
Aye.
Commissioner Gao?
Aye.
Mayor Bujowski?
Aye, and that motion passes unanimously. Hoorah. Thank you, Natalie. Thank you guys for coming out. All right, we have another starred item, which is the Memorandum of Understanding between the city and the International Association of Firefighters, Dunedin, Local 2327. I need a motion to place this on the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Tornga and Commissioner Walker. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. I will turn, now that it's on the agenda, I'll turn the presentation over to Teresa. Welcome.
Good morning, Mayor, Vice
Good
Mayor.
morning.
Commissioners, Happy New Year. Teresa Smalling, Director of HR and Risk Management for the city. I have with me Deputy Fire Chief and Fire Marshal Michael Handoga. Late last year, the union put forth a request for a pilot program in changing their current shift schedule from what is known as a Kelly schedule to a 4896 schedule. This was discussed internally and approved conditionally by staff to put forth the MOU. The final MOU was written by Brett Snyder, our employment attorney, and as is required under Florida law, when there's a collective bargaining agreement in place, there needs to be a ratification vote because it does change an article, Article 27 in the current collective bargaining agreement. And so there was a union ratification vote, and then this also requires ratification by the commission for final approval. At this time, we are here to take any questions that you may have.
Okay, questions for our staff. Vice Mayor?
Yeah, I don't really have any questions. I got my questions answered pretty much by the city manager and fire chief. I have seen the differential with how the schedule looks. Obviously, it hugs the thing that instead of 24-hour shifts, you're going to be going 48 hours straight. I understand why we're doing it. I understand there's a vote, and the union would like to try it. During the trial year, I just want to make sure we're making sure that we have looked at all the studies about how that could affect effectiveness, the 24-hour on and then 24-hour off versus 48 hours on, and does that in any way affect performance or ability to do the job? But, you know, if you can just do that while you're doing the pilot study as we go, I'm supportive of it. I don't have any other questions.
Okay, Commissioner Twanga?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll make just a quick comment before I sort of ask the question. I'm very supportive of whatever assists our firefighters and first responders at this point in time, particularly because of some of the issues about having people in those positions and overworking some folks. So in my conversation, of course, with the city manager going over the agenda, really important to me is that, in fact, this does some of that, and it probably will. And I'd like to see an early report on that just to make sure. I know what the vote was, and there's some that have some questions about this themselves. So I just want to honor them for that. And so I'd like to see us have some kind of a preliminary view of this as we're going along. Sometimes that's dangerous, but that's always smart to do, and I think we should do that so that we can also report back to them and we have a common communication back and forth. I think it's very important, and this is sort of in a question, that those people understand, and I hope they do, that may have voted not to do this, that they understand what we're attempting to do. And is that pretty much the case? I trust, I hope. Okay, thank you. That was a really main question that I had about those that were a little bit not sure about this. So thank you. Thanks for that comment.
Commissioner Gowan, any questions?
I really don't have any questions.
Okay.
Just the comment was just kind of to acknowledge that vote probably wasn't as grand as we would have liked it, but this is a pilot program. And I'm fairly confident, because the plan looks, I'd vote for it, so it looked really good. So I'm pretty confident that over the next year that we'll be able to sway some of those people over. So thank you.
Commissioner Walker, any questions?
Yes, ma'am. I understand there's some other communities, municipalities that have actually implemented this particular work rotation schedule. Have you guys received any feedback or, input, anything out there right now in terms of how that's working for the other communities?
Yes, so when this was brought up and we brought it to the city manager to discuss this as an opportunity to adjust the work schedule, part of our due diligence as staff is I contacted approximately 15 departments at random that are on the schedule. Nothing that was presented by the union as far as these are the people that are on it. There's many communities throughout the country that are doing this. Overwhelmingly, it was interesting. The people that I spoke to typically were in the operations side, be it either lieutenant all the way up to through battalion chiefs, district chiefs, and operation chiefs. Interestingly, a lot of the people that I spoke to, when this was presented to their organization to go to it, they were adamantly against it. They were the ones that were leading the charge to not go to the new schedule. Interestingly, everybody that I spoke to said now that they're on it, they would never go back. This is life-changing to them. So I think one of the things that it's reflected in our vote is change sometimes is scary, not knowing how this will potentially affect their schedule. Maybe a little bit nerve-wracking, but overwhelmingly, the people that are on it typically are very much in support of it.
Yeah, I appreciate that feedback. Well, I'll save the rest for the comments, but the thing that I think we need to ensure that we communicate and get across to you guys, to the community, really pertains to the fact that we need to do what's best for the crew. So,
Thank you, Commissioner. I don't have any questions. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to come forward and speak to this item? Seeing or hearing none. Jennifer, did you have anything you wanted to add?
I do not, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, let's go for final comments. The maker of the motion was, actually, we don't have a motion yet. Sorry. Okay, can I have a motion to ratify this memo of understanding?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Vice Mayor Franny and Commissioner Gao. Okay, Commissioner Franny, any final comments?
No, just, I support this. I want to, like the firefighters do, because it was not that far off from being split with them, see how this works, and also at the same time see what, studies show about the effectiveness. And again, but not taking our eye off the ball of the bigger issue, making sure our staffing levels are where they need to be. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Gao?
Yeah, I agree that, I'm in support of this. We'll see, proof is in the pudding. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Twanga?
Thank you, Mayor. I certainly support this. The Florida League of Cities on the Administrative Committee is very concerned about what's happening with our first responders in the state of Florida. I've made some presentations about that in that committee. And so I think this is I believe that this is going to be a relief for our first responders. And most importantly, I think that this is going to be really good for the community and for our first responders. So that taken together, that's, I think, a very positive thing. I just hope that we do watch that very carefully in the beginning, and we make people comfortable with it, certainly not only to assist it, but to make them feel comfortable with what's happening. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Commissioner Walker?
Yes, ma'am, thanks. Yes, I support this as well. Obviously, there are two impacts or two things that we cannot take the eye off the ball here. The first is operational readiness, and the second is the quality of life of our crew. And initial appearance to this, and just having got some feedback from some other communities, I think this is the right direction. But again, allowing the crews to have more time with their families is very important. I think this does that, and I think it also will improve our operational readiness just based on the length of it. Having had several positions where I was in shift work for extended periods of time, I completely understand the nuance of that, and obviously, I'm going to support whatever Dunedin Fire and Rescue needs to execute the mission. Thank you.
Okay. I too am very supportive. I trust in our administration, both Teresa and Jennifer, and Chief and Deputy Chief, that if this is a direction y'all want to go, as long as the job's getting done and everybody's happy, it's all I care about. And public safety. So appreciate all the hard work that's gone into this, and I appreciate the willingness to do a pilot and try something out to see if it works. I mean, worst thing that can happen is it doesn't work and we go back. There's no harm, no foul. So I believe in testing the waters and doing, trying to try new things and do great things. So thank you for the opportunity to do that. Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Okay. All right, we have the proposed agenda. Let me get back to what I was looking at. We have the proposed agenda for our January 23rd work session. We have consent.
And Mayor, I do have another item to add to consent that was sent to me when you get.
Okay, go ahead.
Teresa would like to add a settlement agreement for McGuire versus City of Dunedin on the January.
Say it again, I didn't hear it.
A settlement agreement, McGuire versus City of Dunedin for the
Okay.
January 23rd consent.
Okay. So we have consent, which is the minutes, board and committee appointments, library playground, Lofty Pines, sewer to septic stuff, fitness equipment, barrier system, which I'm quite sure Jennifer's really excited about, if I'm correct in what that is. I don't even know what that is, something to do with the water department. And then we have action items, fleet replacement, and then we have a workshop item as a gateway development update. And with Rebecca, Teresa's suggested addition, anybody else have any things that they, okay. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner Twanga, Vice Mayor Franey, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. I didn't get any emails on commission discussion, so I think we're good there. City Clerk's update.
I didn't have anything today, thank you, Mayor, except for Happy New Year.
Okay, and then with City Manager's update, I see some things. Your December City Manager update, November PCSO and legislative agenda. Anything we're supposed to talk about, or?
Just the City Manager's Update, December 2023, that is our new format. I hope you're enjoying it. It's a complete upgrade from where we were before, so
Okay.
kudos to staff.
Hey, Teresa, don't go anywhere.
She was so close.
We need you. You should have run, not walked. You should have. And then, Mayor, I just want to call your attention to a supplement, and this is your legislative agenda. As you know, the state legislature is in session starting today. We met with our lobbyist, Laura Bomer, last Friday. You saw this last July and you supported it, but there are a couple things that we'd like you to have a look at, and just FYI, so that she's comfortable that the commission has seen the latest and greatest. But that's the appropriation request that we put in for the EOC and the North County Fire Training Center in the amount of $1.25 million. We've added the sponsor, and that's Representative Anderson, and the form number, and then also Senator Hooper. So just the sponsors of that bill in particular. And then the second one is a Gabion replacement for $750,000. That's Representative Burfield and Senator Hooper. And so those are new. You haven't seen those before. Just want to make sure you're comfortable with that. And the lobbyist then will use this as she's meeting with the legislators I'm from Dunedin. This is their agenda. Just want you to have it. It's not the be-all and end-all, but it's kind of a way to introduce subjects to them as well.
Okay, and can I just ask a question? Obviously, we got late last week, and then yesterday, we got those notifications from Florida League of Cities of the bill on homestead exemption increases, and based on, I don't know all of it. I read it, and it's gone from my mind already. Are we sending letters against this?
We actually had a discussion, well, first of all, we discussed with our lobbyist, and letters are helpful, again, as a way of introduction. But it's actually more useful now that we have a lobbyist physically in Tallahassee, and she will be visiting the legislators regarding that as well. But we'll send letters, and, typically.
Well, I mean, it was kind of a last-minute notice, so, I mean, I think we got the notice Thursday.
Right.
I mean, it's hard to get a letter out before a Monday meeting.
And you typically, Nicole, will kind of dog all those bills as they pass, and if it's directly opposed to our legislative agenda, we will send a letter on behalf of the city of Dunedin.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on that, on that note, talking points, will we get talking points from our legislative person on some of this stuff that would help us? I know Florida League does it, but that are specific to Dunedin and...
Yeah, well, she will send us talking points. She's going to, every week, we're going to get an update on the committee reports and where the bills are and how they're flowing through. And we can derive our talking points from those, and Nicole can actually draft up some of those if need be, depending on who you're going to be talking to and what you'd like to talk to them about specifically.
Are we doing that on like the homestead or anything like that?
Not yet, not until it evolves and we know a little bit more about it.
Okay, because I mean, those can be complicated. If that's going to be a theme that they're going to be doing and talking about, I mean, it's helpful for us to kind of know the impacts of that and,
right.
And not just to our residents, but to our visitors. I mean, Florida, long time, has had part-time visitors who then become residents too, and sometimes they're left in the dust on some of this stuff too, regardless of, the effect on the tax base. But
Yes.
Okay. All right, I just want to make sure we're on top of it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yep, I love the new format.
Yeah,
By
I
the
do
way,
too.
it's a much easier read, all of it.
Totally.
It was a much easier read. I'm sure communications had something to do with that, and I'm sure that Nicole had something to do, I'm sure everybody had something to do with it, so thank you.
Yeah.
All right, but I do have a question for you, which is why I wanted Teresa to stick around. Just notifying you all that the Alt 19 light at Main and Broadway is out. There is a sheriff directing traffic,
Right
but I
now?
guess the area has had a lot of power outages. So I don't know if there's anything we do other than the 5,000 calls that are going to Duke Energy. But I just want to make sure that you're aware.
The signal.
Signal's out. There is a sheriff there.
Okay.
I just had somebody text me to.
Are you the new director of traffic?
You know,
Like you're telling the
I
staff what's...
respond to the texts I get.
I love it, that's
I
awesome.
get a lot of them.
I think my understanding is that Verizon has dropped in the area as well. So those whose service
Yeah.
providers,
It's back
Verizon, is it back up?
It's back
I think,
back up.
I think we're going to experience a lot of this because of the wind.
Right,
Yep, exactly.
right. Okay. I didn't know if you needed to know that or hear that. That's why I told you to stay, nothing else. Yeah, appreciate that.
Now
Okay.
run.
Now you can run. City attorney update. Anything?
Just Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, too. Okay, commission comments. Sort of our liaison reports. I'll start with you, Vice Mayor.
Yes, okay. Well, just a couple things, really. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I mean, I think we are going to have a busy year. On a fun note, February 17th is going to be Welcome Back Blue Jays. So everybody, it's on your calendars, and there'll be a golf cart parade involved, and you'll get more information. So, but it'll be similar to last year, sorry. And then the other thing is, again, and you know this, I'm vice chair of Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council this year. Obviously, their huge emphasis is resiliency, and the Resiliency Coalition just met yesterday in a workshop. The May 9th and 10th, and that's on your calendars as well, is the conference this year. I think it's going to, again, kind of be the latest and greatest stuff on resiliency. It's going to be at Clearwater Beach again, so it's pretty convenient for us. I know we worked our commission meetings around it. The Future of the Region Award Luncheon will be then, and I don't know, are the applications out for submitting for Future of the Region Award yet?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Double check.
I haven't seen anything.
Because we won for Gladys Douglas last year,
Yes.
right? But we never submitted for City Hall.
No.
Okay, so that might be the logical one to submit for. So just kind of wanted to alert
We have-
everybody to that.
Oh, Jorge says Natalie's working on it.
Okay, that's awesome.
For City Hall?
Okay.
Okay.
Commissioner, or Vice Mayor, we got a questionnaire from them. I don't know if you've seen it, but asking if we're going to attend both days or 0 days, if we're going to do the beach barbecue, if we're staying overnight, and then if we're going to the lunch or not. I haven't seen the agenda, and maybe we have it somewhere, but I guess.
I don't think the agenda's fully formulated. I hadn't
So it's-
seen that.
So it's hard,
yeah.
it's hard to tell whether you want to attend both days if you don't know what the agenda is.
Agree. Yeah, I'll take that information
Okay.
back. So that's fair enough. I think it's going to be a pretty great agenda, though.
Okay.
Anyway, I think I bring this up especially because clearly we keep getting faced with these kind of resiliency issues. And clearly with the flooding in our community and some of the coastal areas, the fertilizer, this is all really important stuff for us to be all over. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Twanga, anything from your,
I really have nothing new to add. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Gao, anything new from your liaison positions?
I'm a grandpa.
Yes, we know.
I, Luca Camden, born December 28th, 9 pounds.
I
21
saw that and I'm
inches.
like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, labor was 7 hours, 15 minutes. I know that's
Oh.
TMI, but that's actually pretty quick in pregnancy terms, I've been told.
Still.
But anyway, no, we're just getting back into it as far as liaison positions are concerned. Tonight, the Dunedin Scottish Charts Foundation will have their first meeting really, truly focused on the Highland Games, which they are anticipating being their biggest and best.
You're having
It
that
keeps
tonight?
growing. Yes.
Yeah, I think everybody's canceling their meetings tonight.
It could be. We'll find out. As of last night, it was still going, but those Scots, they'll,
You might want to check.
hunker down in some tavern somewhere.
And Commissioner Gao has no problem joining them.
None whatsoever. And it is also this Saturday, and actually it's a two-day event, Saturday and Sunday, is the Central Florida Highland Games. And we have several bands going over and competing, so wishing them the best of luck. And that is all that I have today.
Okay.
Thank you.
Commissioner Walker?
Yes, ma'am, thanks. Just a couple things. You guys should have all seen a save the date for Dunedin Cares. They will be conducting a gala here on March 3rd, and I'm very excited about that, and they are too. The second announcement is for the Dunedin Fine Arts Center, garden party planning kicks off this week. And so, oh my God, it's a new year. Happy New Year, everybody.
Okay. I have nothing really yet because, all of my meetings are going to be after this. And a lot of them didn't have meetings in the month of December or they had holiday parties for their meetings. So I have nothing to give you yet. But we're working on stuff, so.
But you're working hard.
Oh, yeah. All right, anybody have anything else for the good of the order? Just remember, we're going to
Are we going to say we're
celebrate our
celebrating two
birthdays.
huh?
We will be celebrating our birthday brunch at 11 o'clock.
Yep.
You all were brief and brilliant, so
Yes.
you actually finished ahead of when we thought you would.
And surprising given the way we started this morning.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think that's a record for art talk.
Yeah, that went on a long time, but it was great.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so where are we meeting at 11?
Not sure.
It's either in
or
here
there.
or it's in there. so-
Rebecca, the clerk says over in the waiting area, so,
I don't know, but
yeah.
I
Let me
don't
see,
know.
let me check my calendar
Back
here.
there.
I don't think it
I'll just see
says.
her.
Breakfast, staff waiting, so, yeah, in the
In
waiting
there?
area, yes.
Okay. All right. All right, thank you, everybody. We are adjourned.